Hello class, picking up where we left off at. It says C, use your model to predict the number of viewers in 2007. Alright, so our model goes back up here. Let's see if I could pull it up really quickly. This is our model here. We have f of x is equal to 22.184 times the square root of x minus 19.373. So now we want to know the viewers in 2007. So we know 7 represents the years. So we would substitute in 7 for x. Now what we would do is we would put all of this in our calculator. So we would take 22.184 times the square root of 7. You have to press this right arrow to come from under there. Minus 19.373. And we add 39.32 or 39.320. So f of 7 is 39.320. Now when we write this out, we will have to say that this is 39.320 million. And that's how many viewers there were in 2007. Now we come here to section 2, the Pythagorean theorem. The theorem, if A and B are the lengths of the legs, shortest sides of a right triangle, and C is the length of the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now it says draw and label a picture that illustrates this theorem. Basically, this is just basically a triangle. I'm going to try my best to do it as best as I can. It's a right triangle that this would illustrate. So basically this is a leg. I don't know why this keeps disappearing, but this is a leg and this is the hypotenuse. And I will abbreviate that. So a leg can be labeled as A, leg can be labeled as B, and the hypotenuse is typically labeled as C. And just to let you know, directly across from the 90-degree angle is always your hypotenuse. Alright, now we come down here. It says solve for the missing side in each triangle. Give your answer in simplified form. So we know right here, this is the 90-degree angle. This is the 90-degree angle. So we had A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is a leg, so we could make 8A. B, which would be 5 times the square root of 5, and that squared is equal to C squared. We don't know what C is. 8 squared is 64 plus. Now we know 5 squared is 25. The square root of 5 squared is 5, so that would be 25 times 5, and then that equals C squared. So we have 64 plus, this would be 125, is equal to C squared. Now, 64 plus 125 is 189 equals C squared. Now, we would take the square root of both sides. And the square root of 189 is actually 17. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It was supposed to be the square root of 289 is 17. But the square root of 189 will give you a decimal value. So we could just leave it as the square root of 189. And that will equal to C. Now with the square root of 189, we can pull out the highest perfect square. The highest perfect square in 189 is 9. So we have the square root of 9 times the square root of 21. The square root of 9 is 3 times the square root of 21 is C. So this is our final answer. It would be 3 times the square root of 21 is equal to C. Now we come here to problem number 2. You notice here we're missing a leg. So we had a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. A we don't know, b is 9, and that's squared, is equal to c, which is 11, and that's squared. So it'd be a squared plus 81 is equal to 121. We'll subtract 81 on both sides, and a squared is equal to 40. Now we will take the square root of a squared on both sides, or the square root of both sides. So the square root of a squared is a, and is equal to the highest perfect square in 40 is 4. So we have the square root of 4 times the square root of 10. So it's a equals 2 times the square root of 10. And that is the final answer. Now, we scroll down here. We have our last two problems, problems 3 and 4. We have 4 and x, so we could do a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. We don't know what c is here. So a is 4, b is x, and we don't know what c is. So this would be 16 plus x squared is equal to c squared. Now if we take the square root of both sides, that would give us just the square root of 16 plus x squared is equal to c, because there's nothing we could do with that. So we're done with that problem. Now we come here. You notice we have both legs, but we don't have the hypotenuse. So we would still use the Pythagorean theorem. A is 3a. That would be squared. B would be 4a. And that would be squared is equal to c squared. So this would be 9a squared plus 16a squared is equal to c squared. So 9a squared plus 16a squared is 25a squared, which is equal to c squared. We'll take the square root of both sides, and that will give us 5a is equal to c. Okay, class, also for the sake of time in relation to the project, we could just stop right here. But just to let you all know, as far as the project is concerned, it goes to page 233. I just went on and did the Pythagorean theorem just for you to have that in your notes. But up to let's go back up here. We'll go from page 232 to page 233. This is all the information that you would need for one of the problems on the project that we did not go over in class. Now I'm about to do another problem, another section, which basically covers the other portion, which is called variation. So I will get there in just a second. Thank you.